during my time now studying to become a teacher, I still love to play volleyball. My knees were healed up. And my buddy's like, Kendal, let's make this volleyball team. We'll go to all these tournaments and play volleyball tournaments. And I was like, okay, well, let's go. Meet me in this place called La Ronge, Saskatchewan. I was like, okay, I'll see you there this weekend. Don't worry about the jerseys or the name, Kendal, I'll take care of it. I was like, okay, I'll see you there. So I show up to this volleyball tournament, and my buddy, Justin, didn't tell me what he was going to call or name. Moose meat, of all names. And I'm like, Justin, who's going to take us seriously wearing this moose meat jersey? I was like, everyone's going to laugh at us, Justin. He's like, no, Kendal, just trust me. Like, this is awesome. Like, people are going to love this. I was like, okay, I'll take your word for it. Then I put the jersey on, and I turned around and he gave us moose nicknames. Moose knuckle, moose legs, moose hairs, moose lips, moose juice, moose ear, moose everything. So everyone had a moose nickname, and people are watching us because they're like, man, I never heard of moose meat before. Let's watch this team. And they started giving us cheers. They started making moose calls in the background while we were playing volleyball. We started to give our own cheers and so on. And I was like, we have something here. And people started asking us, I want to buy a moose meat t-shirt. So I was thinking, how can I capitalize on this opportunity? So I started to sell moose meat shirts. I went to all these different tournaments, and I would sell to our fans. It got so lucrative to the point where I was like, I got to make the business out of this. I had no idea what I was doing. I registered the business, Moose Meat Apparel. That was literally our business name. And I started selling these shirts. We got better jerseys. We had a website. We were selling. Like, we were selling hoodies and t-shirts. And all of a sudden, I get another letter in the mail. And at this time, I'm scared of letters. And this letter comes in and says, it's a trademark infringement letter. And we were getting threatened by a massive company out west. And they said, your moose meat words that you're using is too similar to what we're selling. If you continue, we will pursue legal action. This is a warning. So I had two options that day. Go in my room and cry, close it all down, or start over. I did both, okay? So I was crying about it, and I was whining about it, and I was making excuses about it. And so in this moment, ladies and gentlemen, think about what it is that you've had to overcome to be here, okay? Because this right here is a perfect example. I thought everything was done. And I just happened to be messaging this guy called Neil MacLeod. He's an Indigenous author. And he's like, Kendal, don't sweat it. Just change the name. I was like, change the name? How can you just say that? Like, how can you just change a brand that you've been working on for the last 11 months? You've gone to different places to compete with it, and all of a sudden you have to change it. Like, that's so hard. How can you just say that? Just call it Nietzsche gear or Nietzsche wear. I was like, well, where does Nietzsche come from? Nichiwagan, my friend, my partner. It's like a slang word of friend. It's basically friend gear. I was like, interesting. I could use my buddy Johan in a story and how we want to give back the same kids that were once like me as a kid. So I did that. And this is all happening. I had to rebrand everything. I had to write a business plan. I started competing in business plan competitions. I was getting up on stages like this, trying to convince judges, just like on Dragons Den, to believe in my product because my product was amazing. At the same time, we're going to give back to kids who are once like me. That was my pitch. So I started to win like thousands of dollars in all these business competitions, and I would take this money and I would start selling this out of my one-bedroom apartment where my sonny was barely 1 year old at the time. That's Keanu on the screen. Keanu is crawling in between the TV, and right beside him are boxes of t-shirts to the ceiling of our one-bedroom apartment. Okay? Myself, Rachel, my now wife, and Keanu were in this apartment. So he's watching people coming up to our apartment going, coming up to the second floor and buying out of her closet. That was our first store. I had a wireless debit machine, taking payments and so on. Things were happening. Then all of a sudden, at the end of 2011, I ran into a wall. You guys ever run into a wall before? In your business, in your life, right? And you're wondering, I don't know where I'm going to go with this, right? And it feels like there's nowhere else to go. Like you're absolutely stuck. Because we found ourselves with no money left. And we found ourselves downtown Saskatoon applying for welfare. So picture this, 2011, not too long ago. I have Keanu in one of those car seats. We're walking into the welfare office downtown Saskatoon. We go through the process. It was awful. It was humiliating. They made me feel awful for even being there. So I go through the process, and right at the last meeting, I stopped and I said, Rachel, let's go. And she's like, what's going on? I was like, let's just go. I'll talk to you about it outside. So we went back. It was a quiet car ride back home to our apartment. And I sat her down and I said, Rachel, that's not going to be us. I grew up like that. I don't want to raise my family like that. I have an opportunity here with this niche gear business. I know if I give it everything I have here today, I know I can make something happen with it. I need your support. Guess what she did? She supported me. It's important to have that support, even if it's just one person, because everyone else is laughing. When I just, picture this, 2011, we just won Saskatchewan Student Entrepreneur there. We just got featured in the Globe and Mail, Woosmeat Apparel. The next day we shut it down. What does the country do? What the hell's going on, Kendal, right? That's what they're thinking. So when I came and didn't do this again, and I ended up in this welfare line, I felt like a complete failure. And I had nowhere else to go. And I had no choice but to succeed. It's when your back's against that wall where you find things, an inner drive within you to keep moving forward.